Please stand and welcome to the stage McGovern Medical School at UTHealth Houston doctoral candidates Eliora Emmanuel Tesfaye and Janet Wokolo Onyekwu to perform the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, the brave.
Please direct your attention to the screens.
People are always changing, learning, transforming. Our goal is to always get better at being human.
Leaving a full-time job and uprooting my family to become a full-time student again was terrifying. But my family and I focused on making this career dream achievable. I'm so glad I made that leap.
Committing to biomedical informatics was intimidating at first, since it's a relatively new field in healthcare. But now, I feel proud to become part of a field where I can make a difference.
My mom and brother both went to McGovern Medical School, and my grandfather worked across the street at Baylor College of Medicine. I think of the Texas Medical Center as my second home, and the people at McGovern Medical School as my extended family.
I always say that public health is the work of translating science into service. And this was never more apparent than during the past 2 years. My dissertation research on pediatric tuberculosis was postponed, and my graduation was delayed. But I published multiple COVID-19 clinical epidemiology manuscripts, and am continuing COVID-19 outcomes research as a postgraduate researcher.
After years of study and a move from India in 2016, I'm very proud to finish my PhD this year. I can now continue my work as a computational biologist, helping develop anti-cancer drugs at the MD Anderson Cancer Center.
I'm a second-generation Filipino-American raised in a family full of healthcare professionals. My field is so unique because I see dentists as doctors, engineers, and artists all rolled into one.
Today, we reflect on our achievements and growth. Tomorrow, we look towards the future and what we will accomplish next. How many hearts will we mend?
Mrs. D, how are you today? Yeah? Any chest pain this morning?
How many smiles will we create?
How many critical decisions will be impacted by our work?
How many communities will we protect?
How many ways will our research change the world?
How many patients will find comfort in our care?
We have answered the call.
And we will continue to rise to the challenge.
The future health of our community depends on us.
Now we step forward to make a difference in the lives of those we serve.
Please welcome to the stage UTHealth Houston President and All Keck Williams Distinguished Chair, Dr. Giuseppe Colasurdo.
To our students, our friends and families, welcome. And thank you for joining us today. It's always a great honor for me to be here for UTHealth Houston's multi-school commencement ceremony. We are here to celebrate more than 300 of you. In total, 329 students are graduating today. 39 from the School of Biomedical, Informatics, the only one in the country, #1 in the world. 64 from the MD Anderson UTHealth Graduate School, and 226 from our McGovern Medical School. Bringing together our schools of medicine, biomedical sciences, and biomedical informatics underscores that while we are pursuing different fields of study and practice, we are all drawn to serve the same mission: to improve the health and wellness of our communities. Making this choice to dedicate your lives to the health of others is a choice to live a life of service, and I commend each of you for this decision. All of us here today are tremendously proud of each of you for what you have accomplished and what you have yet to accomplish. So on behalf of the more than 16,000 students, faculty, and staff of our university, congratulations to our graduates. UTHealth Houston is a unique training ground with 6 schools covering the entire healthcare spectrum, including dentistry, nursing, and public health, in addition to biomedical informatics, biomedical sciences, and medicine. With our main campuses based in the world-renowned Texas Medical Center and schools, programs, and clinics operating across Texas, the opportunity for experiential collaborative learning in a variety of communities and patient population is truly unparalleled. As we celebrate our 50th anniversary as a health science center, with many of our schools even older than this, we are so proud of what we have collectively accomplished and look forward to the mark that our exceptional students and alumni will make in the years to come. Because each of you, your education, your professional lives, and your contributions to science and medicine are forever woven into the fabric of this university. You join a force of more than 50,000 UTHealth Houston alumni. You are part of our legacy and our future. And I would suggest to you that there is no better way to represent UTHealth Houston and what this university stands for than to approach each patient and each project from a place of service. Because while accolades and awards are appreciated, the true testament to your careers will be the impact that you have on your community through research and discovery, through compassionate clinical care, through thoughtful training and mentorship of the generations who will follow in your footsteps. So as you embark on your careers, please remember that everything you do is in service to science, to our communities, to one another. And I would like to take a moment to recognize some special guests joining us today. Representing the University of Texas System, Dr. Randa Safedy, Vice Chancellor for External Relations, Communication, and Advancement. Veronica Hinojosa Segura, Associate Vice Chancellor and Controller. Thank you for being here, Randa. Today we also welcome members of our Development Board, Mrs. Ginny Mithoff, thank you for being here, and Mr. soon-to-be Dr. Joe Bridges. We are also joined by President Peter Pisters from our sister institution, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and the deans of our 3 schools celebrating today. You will hear from each of them shortly. And I will look around here, Dr. Blackburn, Dr. Richard Andrasi from the School of Medicine, Dr. Jiaji Zhang from our School of Biomedical and Informatics, and Dr. Latanya Love also from our School of Medicine. We also have Dr. Giulio Dreda, Chief Scientific Officer at MD Anderson Cancer Center, and Dr. Sharon Dent, Dean ad interim for our GSPS. Thank you all for being here. And I would like to thank the families and loved ones of our graduates for joining us today and for your support and trust. These students could have not accomplished this without you, and we would like to give you a very warm round of applause. And finally, I would like to welcome our good friend, Dr. Latanya Love, who will be introducing today's speaker, Brené Brown. Dr. Love is an Executive Vice President of Students Affairs and Diversity at UTHealth Houston and Dean of Education at McGovern Medical School. In these roles, she serves as a champion and advocate for our students, creating and leading programs that enrich the students' life experience and promote well-being. Dr. Love is double board certified in internal medicine and pediatric, and is active in teaching medical students and resident trainees. Her academic interests include medical students' well-being, and she has developed curricula on medical student wellness and resilience, as well as unconscious bias in healthcare. We are tremendously grateful to you, Latanya, for all that you do for UTHealth Houston and for our students. Please help me welcome Dr. Latanya Love. All yours.
So today I have the distinct pleasure in introducing the highly acclaimed researcher, professor, author, mother, and storyteller, Brené Brown, PhD, as this year's commencement speaker. Brene is a research professor at the University of Houston, where she holds the Huffington Foundation Endowed Chair at the Graduate College of Social Work. She also holds the position of visiting professor in management at the University of Texas at Austin McComb School of Business. Brene has spent the past 2 decades studying courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy. She is the author of 6 #1 New York Times bestsellers and is the host of 2 award-winning Spotify podcasts, Unlocking Us and Dare to Lead. Her TED Talk on the power of vulnerability is one of the top 5 most viewed TED Talks in the world, with over 50 million views. Brene is the first researcher to have filmed a lecture on Netflix, and in March 2022, she launched a new show on HBO Max that focuses on her latest book, Atlas of the Heart. Brene spends most of her time working in organizations around the world, helping to develop braver leaders and more courageous cultures. She lives right here in Houston with her husband, Steve, who I personally worked alongside when he was a chief resident in pediatrics right here at McGovern Medical School. They have 2 children, Ellen and Charlie, and a weird Bichon named Lucy. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Brene Brown.
Woo! Y'all made it. Y'all made it. Let me start by thanking everyone for inviting me. For the UT System Board of Regents, the president of UTHealth Houston, the deans, and especially the students, thank you. I'll be really honest that when I got an email from Dr. McNeese that said, "Can you do the commencement address?" my team immediately said, "No way. No chance can you do that. You've got an engagement for a family commencement that Friday night at 7 o'clock. And I said, "Oh no, I have to do it. I need to talk to them. I'm desperate to talk to these folks." And I'm looking at y'all right now. And they kind of got concerned and worried. What do you have to say to them? I have a lot to say to them. I have to talk to them. We'll make it work. So when you see me exit stage right after I talk, you'll know that I'm going to the next thing, but I had to be here because I wanted to talk to you, and what I have to say is only mildly confusing and worrisome. You are my people. I am a social scientist. I am married to a pediatrician. And by the sheer fact of the student loans that both I and you have accumulated, we are bonded forever. It took me 6 years to get my PhD. Steve did 4 years of medical school, 3 years of residency, and a chief year here. I think my 6 years was 4 years of multivariate regression, at least that's how I remember it. It was painful. The thing that I remember the most, especially from Steve's graduation, was that while we were choosing this incredibly long path, our friends who graduated from college were buying townhouses and talking about IRAs when we were scrounging in the couch for taco money. They were buying real furniture, and we were buying furniture that came with a plastic Allen wrench. You chose a long, hard path. And I had to come here today to say thank you. Thank you for choosing this very long, very difficult path. I know what the sacrifices on the path look like. In fact, for the graduating medical students here, you'll appreciate this story. We left the day after Steve's graduation for a trip, very short trip before residency started, and we were on the plane, and sure enough, the flight attendant said, Is there a medical professional on board? Is there a medical professional on board? And I was like, dude, you better raise your hand. We are broke, we've been tired for 2 years, you better raise your hand and run up there and give somebody a tracheotomy with a Bic pen and a rubber band. And he looked at me as I was gonna push the button for him and said, don't push the button. Don't push the button, I'm not MacGyver, this is not the way it works. And I said, no, you're a doctor, MD, you're a doctor now. He said, don't push the button for the love of the person that needs medical help. Do not press the button. He said, my classmates and I are just really concerned that we'll be writing orders for Tylenol in 2 weeks that people won't be checking. I can't do a tracheotomy with a Bic pen. It's really disappointing. You're on a different path, you're on a hard path, and you chose a path, every single one of you here today, whether you know it or not. You chose a path to fight for us. Whether you're a clinician, you're working with big data or AI, redesigning systems that serve us, doing bench research, somewhere along the way, you decided that we, humanity, people, were worth it. Our lives were worth it, our health is worth it, our well-being, our future, worth it. And you either made that choice, depending on how many years you've served so far, you either made that choice during one of the most scary, uncertain times in our history, or you made the choice to stay during one of the scariest, most uncertain times in history. I don't think most of you would have believed me if I told you 4 or 5 years ago, hey, on graduation day, let me tell you about the world. Russia will be invading the Ukraine. We will have buried 1 million people from a global pandemic, many of those deaths directly traceable to the craziest anti-science movement we've seen. Basic human rights are under attack across the world, and there will be an alarming shortage of baby formula. You would have said, man, Brene, you've been reading too many YA articles, like too many YA books. I wouldn't have believed it, and I don't think you would have believed it. But here we are. And after today, you'll move on with your education, your training, your careers. And I'll tell you why I'm grateful, and I'm telling you why I fought to be here today. You are exactly who we need to move forward. You are the people I believe can move us forward. I've never taught undergrad, to be honest with you, but I've been teaching master's and PhD students for 25 years. And I am now the self-appointed fan club president of this generation of scientists, clinicians, and scholars. Your tenacity, your commitment to mental health and emotional well-being, and your refusal to pretend like it doesn't matter. Your investment in equity and inclusion, your willingness to challenge systems that no longer serve us. You don't do any of these things perfectly as a cohort, but here's my theory. You have bared witness to so many failures and threats to the systems that we never questioned. And in some ways, I feel like you are less afraid to stare down the person who says, we're gonna do it this way because we've always done it this way. You are the future leaders who look back and say, nah, that's not a good enough reason. I've spent the majority of my time over the last 15 years working inside organizations to transform the way people lead and develop high-performance cultures that also rehumanize work and foster belonging. And many of these organizations are some of the top science, medical schools, people we all know. And I'll tell you what my takeaway has been, and my takeaway has been unexpected, and life-changing for me. Here are the three things that I think you're going to need the most as you move forward. I believe all of these are irreducible requirements for your success and not something you're going to learn about in class. I think you're going to need courage. I think you're going to need love. And I think you're going to need a lot of joy in your life. Every single one of you will find yourselves in deep ethical conflicts during the course of your career. Every single one of you will be called on to understand how power works, how powerlessness destroys people and families and communities. And you'll learn the differences between power over and power with and power to. And here's one thing I want to say, especially for those of you who, a lot of times we think, yeah, I can see how the future physicians will be in ethical and power struggles. Big data, AI, the controversies around bench research funding, genetics research, these are careers that will be defined by the need for courageous leadership. So what does courage look like and what gets in the way? The first thing I'm going to say, and you know you would never get out of this commencement address without me using the word vulnerability, right? You got to understand yourself. You got to understand how your thoughts and emotions and behaviors work together. We would love to believe, and not just y'all, but all of us, would love to believe that we are cognitive, rational beings who on occasion have an emotion or a feeling and flick it away. This is not the case. And we know this now, neurobiologically. We are emotional beings who on occasion think. And when emotion is driving, cognition is not sitting next to us saying, take a left, take a right. Cognition is hogtied in the trunk. You've got to know who you are. You've got to understand how your emotions work. You have to be able to read emotion in yourself and other people if you're going to be a daring leader. The other thing about courage is you got to stay so curious. There was a time, maybe even in my career, when no one would have ever said this to the future of leaders. But I'm going to say it to you because this is what I do for a living. Don't be a knower. Daring leadership is about being a learner, not a knower. When I work with transformative, world-changing leaders, they don't have all the answers. What they have are exquisite questions that change the way everybody thinks. Never stop learning and never stop being curious. The next one's really important and interesting because it's just finding its place into medical schools, into the academy, into hospital systems. You've got to lead with humility. And humility is not modesty or shyness or aw shucks. There's a really clear definition of humility. You know your strength, you live into it, and you're keenly aware of your opportunities for getting better. We need to lead with humility. The last is understanding that vulnerability is not weakness, that vulnerability is strength. Vulnerability has a super simple definition from the data: uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. To be human is to be vulnerable. To be walking into the careers that you are walking into means to be vulnerable every hour of the day. Several years ago, I was working with Special Forces, and I asked a very simple question. A large group of troops. Give me an example of courage in your life that did not require risk, uncertainty, and emotional exposure. And it got very quiet. I was at Fort Bragg. It got very quiet, and then finally heads fell into hands, and someone stood up and said, 3 tours, ma'am, there is no courage without vulnerability. A week later, I posed the same question to the Seattle Seahawks. I was doing some work with them on courageous leadership. Same answer. There is no courage without vulnerability. Vulnerability is the willingness to show up and be seen when you don't have the answers. It'll be easy to be seduced by the belief that you need all the answers because you're clinicians and you're researchers. You study systems, but don't have the answers, especially when you don't have the answers. The last thing I want to say is about love and joy. For people who sign up to fight for us, they forget to tell us that love and joy are the fuel that you'll need to stay sustained during your career. And I want to say this, and I hope you take it seriously. Do not steal time from love and joy for work. The deepest, most sustaining successes I've seen are successes built on a foundation of love and joy. When you get sick of fighting for people, when it feels thankless and overwhelming, when you start to wonder if people who are so messy and hard and terrible sometimes are really worth fighting for, when you question if it's worth it, you'll find the answers to these questions in your own experiences of love and joy. Those experiences will bring you back from changing the world to making a difference in a single person's life. You'll remember the fight is worth it because you will have a collection of moments in your life that are so precious, it's worth fighting for everyone else that you're working for. Here's what I know from Steve, my husband. This is hard. Many of you will be with people in your career during the most incredible moments of their lives. And many of you will be providing those moments to people because of the research and the work you do. And many of you will be standing next to people during the most tragic, unmanageable moments of their lives. Steve's been in practice as a pediatrician for 30 years. He still has relationships with every single person he stood next to and cried with during those worst moments. The best moment, people, we get Christmas cards, we get a note, we'll see him at the grocery store. But the ongoing relationships are with the people that you stood with when it felt like the world was closing in for them. That is what you've signed up for. If you spend any time wondering when your real life is going to start, that's a sign not to waste another moment. This is your life. We got married during the third year of medical school. We took a vacation to San Francisco. We ran into 8 other couples from medical schools because they all had the same week off. We had our first child right at the end of Steve's residency in the middle of my PhD program. Our first due date was July 1st. If you're in medical school, you know Steve's comment was, "Oh, hell no. We're not having any babies around July 1st when all the doctors are new." This is your life. You gotta engage wholeheartedly right now. When I walked across the stage to get my PhD, they said, "Dr. Brené, no more dissertata Brown." Because my 2-year-old would stand outside the door while I was writing and bang, "No more dissertata, no more dissertata." The funny thing is she's working on her PhD right now, and I'm banging on her door saying, "No more dissertata." Full circle. The last thing I want to share with you is this. One day, when it felt like too much, I was on my 3rd round of a grant for funding. Steve was exhausted in post-call. I had 2 more faculty committee meetings. all I wanted to do was pick up Ellen early from school. I finally said, you know what, screw it, I'm going. I got her, we went to Herman Park, we rode the train, we waved at her dad, who was in a building across the street. Then we rode those little water boats, you know, that you pedal with your feet. And I looked over at Ellen, and she was sitting like this in that paddle boat. And I said, Ellen? And she didn't move. And it scared me, and I said, Ellen, are you okay? And she said, I'm good. And I said, Ellen, what's happening? And she said, I'm making a picture memory. And I said, what's a picture memory? And she said, when something really good happens, when something really joyful happens, I take a picture memory so that I can remember it when things are hard. I came today to say, I'm grateful to all of you. My wish for you is that you love big, you make a ton of picture memories, especially when you should be working. You're going to need them, and we will never stop needing you. So thank you. Oh, stay.
So that was just wonderful. Thank you so much for inspiring our graduates today. And we have a small token for you, this medal, which is a symbol of excellence. And but on behalf of everyone here at UTHealth, we would like to present this to you.
Wow.
And thank you for inspiring us.
Yes.
Yes.
They want to take a picture. Stay in the
Yes,
middle.
let's take a picture. This completes the Harry Potter ensemble.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Yeah, thank you. Another round of applause, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screens as we highlight UTHealth Houston School of Biomedical Informatics. And now, to honor our graduates of UTHealth Houston School of Biomedical Informatics, please welcome to the stage Dr. Robert Murphy, Dr. Elmer Bernstam, Dr. Susan Fenton, Dr. Amy Franklin, Dr. Hua Xu, Mr. Ryan Bien, Dr. Luca Giancardo, Dr. Xiao Chen Chiang, Dr. Kirk Roberts, Dr. Angela Ross, Dr. Sui Tao, Dr. Degui Zhe, and please welcome to the podium Dean of UTHealth Houston School of Biomedical Informatics, Dr. Jiaji Zhang.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jiaji Zhang, Dean of UTHealth School of Biomedical Informatics. I'm delighted to join you in celebrating the achievements of 38 School of Biomedical Informatics graduates who will walk across the stage today. In acknowledgement of all we have endured during the pandemic, I want to celebrate today's commencement as yet another hopeful sign that we are on the road to normalcy. Let's give ourselves a round of applause in celebration of our students, family members, friends, faculty, staff, and our fortune in prevailing over these trying times. I want to share a few highlights about the School of Biomedical Informatics during this challenging period. First and foremost, I'm very proud that the School of Biomedical Informatics, the largest in the nation, is getting even larger. During the pandemic, more students than ever were inspired to join SBMI in seeking technology solutions to the most pressing healthcare issues of our time, as evidenced by 39% increase in enrollment over the past 2 years. As part of this growth, SBMI launched the nation's first applied practice doctorate degree in health informatics. The unique curriculum of the Doctorate in Health Informatics, or DHI, was developed specifically for executive and management level individuals who are seeking to transform healthcare through the acquisition and application of state-of-the-art knowledge and skills in informatics. In fact, today, we will honor the very first graduate of our landmark DHI program, Joe M. Bridges, who will hold the very first applied informatics doctorate in SBMI, Texas, the nation, and the world. Joe Bridges' personal journey is truly an inspiration to me, and I hope it will be for all of you as well. For more than a decade, Joe witnessed his sister's struggle to obtain an accurate diagnosis for an ongoing health problem. Then he resolved to do something about it. And if you know Joe like me, nothing can get in his way. At age 77, Joe entered into our DHI program and dedicated 3 years to researching and implementing an artificial intelligence solution that can aid physicians in considering a broad array of possible diagnoses to get it right the first time, thereby helping patients like his sister obtain proper treatment and avoid unnecessary suffering. The AI system selected and implemented by Joe Bridges was shown to help physicians increase diagnostic accuracy, and he's now ready to explore options for what's next. At SBMI, there are so many students like Joe Bridges who has unique stories and inspirations, and we are proud and gratified to work with each one. Major James Thompson is another example. He is the first active duty Army officer, the first Army Medical Department officer, and the first Army Nurse Corps officer to graduate with a master's degree from our school. Congratulations, Major James Thompson. The pandemic did not slow us down in research either. Over the past 2 years, our faculty were responsible for a 34% increase in grant awards, which is nothing short of amazing. Besides highly competitive research awards, a big chunk of the funding is for the training of next-generation scientists, informaticians, and practitioners. The Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas awarded Professor Zhongming Zhao a $4 million grant to train future scientists in cancer informatics and translational cancer research. Dr. Susan Fenton, the Associate Dean for Academic and Curriculum Affairs, in a collaborative effort with our School of Public Health, helped UTHealth secure a grant of nearly $10 million from the Office of the National Coordinator for Health IT to train 1,400 students and 500 public health and clinical professionals in health informatics across Texas. Graduates, in closing, please remember that all the AI algorithms and smarter machines in the world will never replace your unique contributions to human health. How you approach and resolve an issue, how you endeavor to succeed, how you work with another person or group, how you lead, and how you respond to stress. All of this comprise who you are, and they will be critical for your ongoing growth and development. Again, I would salute all who are here today. Thank you for joining us. At this time, I would like to honor the John P. McGovern Outstanding Teacher Award winner for 2022. This award is selected by students and presented each year to an educator from each of the 6 UTHealth schools. I'm proud to announce that the winner this year for SBMI is Dr. Robert Murphy. Dr. Murphy is an associate professor and the associate dean for applied informatics at SBMI. Before joining SBMI, he was the chief medical information officer at Mama Herman Health System for nearly 10 years. At Mama Herman, Dr. Murphy provided system-wide leadership on clinical information system projects. Dr. Murphy completed his residency in emergency medicine at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit and graduated from the University of Kentucky College of Medicine after finishing a Bachelor of Arts in History from Rice. In spare time, Dr. Murphy is a golfer, a very good one. Congratulations, Dr. Murphy. Please come forward to receive your award. Bob, teaching is as entertaining and challenging as golfing. You always want to come back and get a better score. So looking forward to your continued teaching excellence. Again, please join me in a round of applause for Dr. Robert Murphy. As the graduates we honor today will soon become the newest alumni of our school, it is my pleasure to announce the Distinguished Alumni Award winner for 2022. The School of Biomedical Informatics Alumni Association was established as an important arm of SBMI. The association's goal is to support the needs of our rapidly growing alumni population and supporting SBMI's current students. Upon becoming a member of the SBMI Alumni Association, each graduate will serve as an ambassador for our school and for the field of informatics. Now it's my pleasure to announce this year's awardee, Dr. Ashish Joshi. Dr. Joshi, who is not present today, earned his PhD from SBMI in 2012. He is currently the Senior Associate Dean for Academic and Student Affairs and a professor at the City University of New York Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy. As one of the founding members of the school, he led the development and implementation of its academic programs. He was also instrumental in the New York City COVID-19 response, as he and his team oversaw a program aimed at connecting residents to community resources during the pandemic. In August of this year, Dr. Joshi will begin his new tenure as Dean of the School of Public Health at the University of Memphis. I applaud and congratulate Dr. Ashish Joshi, SBMI's Distinguished Alumni Award winner for 2022. At this time, it's my pleasure to invite the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Biomedical Informatics, the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Informatics, and the degree of Doctorate in Health Informatics at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston School of Biomedical Informatics to please rise. Dr. Colasurdo, on behalf of the faculty of the UTHealth Houston School of Biomedical Informatics, it is my pleasure to certify to you that the candidates who stand before you have successfully completed all academic requirements for the degree of Master of Science in Biomedical Informatics, Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Informatics, and Doctorate in Health Informatics, respectively.
Right there, right? By virtue of the authority vested by the State of Texas Board of Regents of the University of Texas System and delegated by them to me, I now confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Science in Biomedical Informatics, Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Informatics, and Doctorate in Health Informatics, for which you've been recommended with all rights, privilege, responsibility, and obligation appertaining thereunto. Congratulations for your great accomplishment.
Thank you, Dr. Colasurdo. Dr. Amy Franklin, SBMI's Associate Dean for Student, Faculty, and Community Affairs, will now announce our 2022 graduates in residence and recognize the graduates who were unable to join us today. I ask our family, friends, other guests in attendance, please hold your applause until all graduates have been named.
Will each graduate in the Master of Science in Biomedical Informatics program please come forward as your name is called? Noor Alex Aliyah. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Tiffany Champagne-Langerbier. Capstone Project, generating an automated report to track and improve ERAS compliance of preoperative and postoperative nutrition provision. Venice Crystal Anyana. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Tiffany Champagne-Langerbier. Capstone Project, enhancements to Kamana Health's job marketplace using the system development lifecycle to increase usability. Karen Ong, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Julie Brixey. Capstone Project, increasing user engagement through community and network development. Maria Fernandez Estrain, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Deborah Simmons. Capstone Project, streamlining communication through visual display by method of Google Forms. Malak Awad, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Sahidi Mainani. Capstone Project, consumer engagement in digital media channel, a mixed method study of content features related to COVID-19 vaccines. Mason Bartels, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Jim Zhang. Capstone Project, automatizing the filtering of gene lists for identifying biomarkers, drug targets, and tumor subtypes. Sugana Rani Chinnapavula, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Kimberly Smith. Capstone Project, assessing gaps in imaging studies referrals in the radiology department. Daniela Rochelle Dali, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Mohammed Ahmed. Capstone Project, exploring the conceptualization of social determinants of health for an ontology artifact model. Sophia Dido, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Divika Rogi. Capstone Project, use of process mining in defining clinical inertia in hypertension management. Henry Glade, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Robert Murphy. Capstone Project, building a data set for geospatial tools to improve cancer screening rates for federally qualified community health centers in Texas. Banumati Godpal, Doctor of Tiffany Champagne Langabir. Capstone Project, applying informatics and visualization methods within the Houston Emergency Opioid Engagement System at UTHealth Houston. Meghana Gudala, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Tiffany Champagne Langabir. Capstone Project, assessing the impact of telemedicine amongst providers along the Texas-Mexico border. Gabriela Hernandez, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Julie Brixey. Capstone Project, workflow analysis in physical medicine and rehabilitation clinics. Casey J. Kappeman, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Angela Ross. Capstone Project, improving a research contract management process through qualitative process mapping. Megan Marie Lee, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Robert Murphy. Capstone Project, planning for the implementation of a universal MRSA decolonization process at a large healthcare system in Houston, Texas. Vikas Reddy Mundadi, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Robert Murphy. Capstone Project, assessment of patient violence towards healthcare staff at Memorial Hermann Hospital and implementation of a proactive violence assessment and behavioral emergency response. Brad Justin McCavick, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Tiffany Champagne Langavere. Capstone Project, readmission risk reduction in a pediatric medical center. Karen Nunez, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Tiffany Champagne Langabere. Laura Ocasio, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Luca Giancardo. Capstone Project, constructing structured data sets. Sophia Alvarez, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Todd Johnson. Capstone Project, expressed breast milk and medication management, medical error reduction, and process optimization opportunities. Alonso Javier Olivares, Faculty Advisor, Dr. Deborah Simmons. Capstone Project, Dashboard Applications for Public Health Administration Reporting. Neha Patel. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Tiffany Champagne-Langabeer. Capstone Project, Strategic Public Health Marketing in Response to Opioid Use Crisis. Romeo Patel. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Kirk Roberts. Capstone Project, Computable Phenotypes Using Electronic Health Record Data, a review. Kavita Karishma Ramnath. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Angela Ross. Capstone Project, Workflow Analysis Improvement of the Rooming Process at a Patient-Centered Medical Home, Healthcare for the Homeless, Houston. Mario Rodriguez Jr. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Kim Smith. Capstone Project, Evaluation of a Predictive Model for Improving the Quality of Allocation and Distribution of Laboratory Inventory. Tamara Smith. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Julie Brixey. Capstone Project, Applying the Swim Lane Diagram Method to Improve Organizational Workflow. Major James Arthur Thompson. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Angela Ross. Capstone Project, Sick Bay Alarm Management System Modification at Houston Methodist, addressing alarm fatigue and meaningfulness in alarms. Gustavo Villarreal. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Robert Murphy. Capstone Project, Continuous Improvement of Community Medical Adherence through Evidence-Based Reporting, a Visual Analytics Implementation. Menting Yu. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Yang Gong. Analysis of Human Errors and Association of Perioperative Communication in Incident Reports using Clinical BERT. Meng Cheng. Faculty Advisor, Dr. Todd Johnson. Capstone Project, Dashboard Design for Comparing Program Performance at Tropical Texas Behavioral Health. Will each graduate of the Doctor of Philosophy in Behavioral Informatics please come forward as their name is called? I would like to invite the committee members for Layla Ramsey Gindi Bahit to the stage. Come on up. Up. In the middle, guys. Can I get my hooders? Come on up. Oh, sorry. Those hooders. Okay. Layla Ramsey Gindi Bahit. Committee members. Chair, Dr. Degwe Ji, Dr. Angela Ross, and Dr. Hua Xu. Dissertation, secondary use of structured electronic health records data from observational studies to deep learning-based predictive modeling. Congratulations, Layla. Will the committee members for Roni Mayton please come to the stage? Come on. Roni Mayton. Committee members, Chair, Dr. Susan Fenton, Dr. Amy Franklin, Dr. Robert Murphy, and Dr. Amit Mehta. Dissertation, Identifying Risks for Anchoring Bias During Emergency Department Transitions of Care. Brody, I want a quick hug. Will the committee members for UTC please come forward? UTC committee members, Chair, Dr. Kirk Roberts, Dr. Elmer Bernstam, Dr. Zhao Chenjiang, and Dr. Timothy Miller. Dissertation, Enhancing Representation Learning of Clinical Narrative with Neural Networks for Clinical Predictive Modeling. Congratulations. Congratulations. Will the committee members for Jinyuan Cheng please come to the stage? Jinyuan Cheng, committee members, Chair, Dr. Cui Tao, Dr. Louis Giancarlo, Dr. Zhao Chenjiang, and Dr. Kirk Roberts. Dissertation, Computer-Aided Diagnosis for Melanoma Using Ontology and Deep Learning Approaches. Congratulations. Will the graduate of the Doctorate in Health Informatics program, the first in the world, please come forward as his name is called? I'd like to invite the committee members for Joe M. Bridges to the stage. Joe M. Bridges. Committee members, Chair, Dr. Robert Murphy, Dr. Amy Franklin, and Dr. Hardeep Singh. Translational project, Evaluation, Validation, and Implementation of a Computerized Diagnostic Decision Support System in Primary Practice. I will come and hug him too. Congratulations. Join me as we give a round of applause to the graduates of the School of Biomedical Informatics, class of 2022. Congratulations, new alumni. We celebrate your achievements and those of the following SBMI students who could not attend commencement today. Summer 2021 PhD graduate, Zhao Dong. Summer 2021 master's graduates, Kristen Beck, Kaylee Buckley, Clifford Chen, Daniel Anwer, Yang Liu, Jing Zhang. Fall 2021 master's graduates, Ashfula Agbara, Adolphus Cleveland, Vas Dake, Ashish Damani, Margaret Fitzgerald, Wei Shuang Xu, Zariah Imran, Patience Jackson, Milesh Christopher, Kelly Schneider, Michael Swank. Spring 2022 master's graduates, Drew Deluski, Imo Bonuvi, Ishar Turu, Andrea Foster, Hei Gu, Robert Guvara, Allison Hages, Joseph Crocker, Hangwei Liu, Vanessa McElroy, Andrea Stone, Bolenli Idesanya, and Samir Haq. We congratulate the dedication, hard work, and accomplishments of each SBMI graduate, both those present and not in attendance. Graduates, you may now move your tassel from the right to the left. Congratulations on earning your degree from the School of Biomedical Informatics. Please give our graduates another round of applause.